And welcome back. Investigators in Moscow, Idaho are trying to clarify what they know so far about the brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Police released a statement saying there was conflicting information released. The prosecutor's office said that the suspect specifically targeted the off-campus home of the students and that one or more of the people who lived there were undoubtedly targeted. But police say that was a miscommunication and they do not know if there was a specific target. 4 students, 3 women and 1 man, were found stabbed to death on November 13th. The coroner believes they were likely all asleep when the attack started, but some of the victims did have defensive wounds. 2 surviving roommates called 911 from a cell phone the morning after the attack. So far, no suspect has been identified and the murder weapon hasn't been found yet. The University of Idaho held a vigil Wednesday night to remember what's being called the Idaho 4. News Nation correspondent Brian Enton was there, and he actually spoke with me on Law & Crime's Sidebar podcast.
They initially said that the public was not at risk, and then, of course, got pushed on that because they didn't have any information about who the killer was or what happened or a motive, and then had to backtrack on that also and say, well, we can't really say that. So I think they're trying to walk this line. I mean, you know how it is. Like, this is a small town. People are literally freaking out here. Like, I mean, I can't tell you that enough. Like, people don't go out at night. They think the killer is among them here. People have put double locks on their doors. I went to the vigil last night. They have, metal detectors to get in and police with binoculars up in the balconies. So I think they're walking this fine line of trying to keep the community somewhat calm, but at the same time also being open that they don't really know what happened.
During Wednesday night's vigil, family members of the victims spoke about their loved ones and even had a reminder for everyone else.
We are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. And I want to remind you that that's the most important message that we have for you and your families, is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back.
But these girls were absolutely beautiful. They've been friends since 6th grade. It's a shame and it hurts. But the beauty of the two always being together is something that it comforts us. It lets us know that they were with their best friends in the whole world.
Terry, look, we're still in the early phases of this case, but I have to ask, do you think the authorities have already botched this investigation?
I wouldn't say botched, Jesse, but it has been compromised to a certain extent, in my opinion. Look, it was November 13th. That was 18 days ago, and every day is a passing day, and it could become a cold case. And, they actually have done thousands of tips. They've actually had 150 interviews, so it's not as though they're not doing anything. And they are working. State, local, and federal authorities are all helping. So they're doing something, but their biggest issue right now is the fact that they have miscommunicated and the fact that they're withholding information. They haven't said what was going on. They need to make sure that what they're doing is communicated to the public. Now, I understand they don't want to communicate all of their leads, but at the same time, we need to know what's going on here.
Brian, the back and the forth, do you think that this was a targeted killing or not?
So, Jesse, we only have so much information, but from what we do have, I'm leaning towards this being targeted. Now, could it be targeted for the individuals or targeted for the location? I don't know. But when I hear multiple stabbings, some people in the home survive, some people do not gunshots, but multiple stabbings, that seems personal to me, like someone either knew these people or thought they knew these people. It seems targeted to me, but of course, we need more information before we can make that determination.
And look, I think we have to be clear that everyone has the best intentions. Everyone wants to solve this case. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have to be patient, take it day by day, and we are going to continue to follow this case here on Law and Crime Daily because it's important and we want a resolution as quickly as possible. And welcome back, everybody. Thursday marked day 4 in the trial of a former Border Patrol agent accused of going on a killing spree in Texas. Investigators believe Juan David Ortiz is accused or responsible for shooting 4 women and leaving their bodies near I-35 in Laredo. Police say he preyed on women doing sex work as some sort of vigilante killer. killer. A fifth alleged victim managed to escape at a gas station, and she told a state trooper that Ortiz tried to kidnap her. She testified that she knew all 4 of the women who were killed. She mentioned the killings to Ortiz, who she said got very nervous. At the time of his arrest in 2018, Ortiz had worked for U.S. Customs and Border Protection for 9 years. During a 10-hour interrogation, officers say Ortiz confessed to the killings, but the defense says that alleged confession was false. Brian, what are your thoughts on the prosecution playing a 10-hour interrogation video for the jury?
Who are you trying to bore to death? I mean, I get it. It's 10 hours long. A lot of this case is going to come down to whether or not this was a true or false confession. But I think you can accomplish that goal by showing the most relevant portions of the confession, present it to the jury, explain to them how long it is, and do them a favor. Tell them you're only giving them certain sections rather than them getting frustrated at you for having to sit there for such a long presentation.
I just hope that they were awake through all of it, because that's a problem. Terry, we heard testimony from an alleged victim, someone who apparently survived an attack, testified about her encounter with Ortiz. How do you think her testimony is going to impact the jury, impact this case?
Oh, it's going to be a huge impact on this case, Jesse, no doubt about it. She's a surviving victim. She knew the other victims, and she is speaking on their behalf. You better believe that that jury is listening to every word that she is saying. They are listening to what he did to her. He picked her up, he threw her in the van, he put a gun to her head, and she got out of that car and she was able to escape. She got help from a state trooper, and I think the jury is thinking, this must have happened exactly the same way with the other women. And so she was able to tell the story for everyone, a key strategic move on the part of the prosecution. They put her up the first day and had that impact, I think, that they were looking for. Even though she did admit that she did prostitution and drugs, I don't think the jury's going to hold that against her.
Well, as we talk about this unbelievable testimony, and as the Juan David Ortiz trial was underway on Thursday, there was other shocking news. An associate district attorney quit. That's right. According to local television stations in Texas, Joshua Davila posted on Facebook, quote, "I have officially left the Webb County District Attorney's Office. That is the most unprofessional and toxic workplace I have ever had to deal with. I do not recommend it." Davila was actually in the courtroom for the first 3 days of the trial, even questioning witnesses on the stand. The district attorney's office wouldn't comment other than to say that his resignation wouldn't impact the trial.